Oh shit! Oh yeah!
We're unmuted.
We're now unmuted. We had to put the live, man. We had to drop that bit in a minute. And also
Have
to
to do nothing. Just stay black.
and die. The great quote of
You ain't even gotta do that.
Morgan Freeman.
That's
Morgan
optional.
Freeman. Yes. What that, man? Hello, everybody. My name is HisStory Williams, and welcome to the Historical Voices from the East Side. We are the council of young blurs as we talk about all the things that's going great in our media and how it affects our culture, and we do a little movie review. We tell you what to go and watch out there. I'm going to actually slide in something because of the fact that I actually pay attention to the East Side reviews. I know my homie Jamel actually has a movie review in the tank right now in the chamber, but we'll get to that a little bit later. I'm gonna ask him about that movie in a second. JT is right below me. He's the voice of reason right there. Boom! Give him a big shout outs, everybody. Give him a round of applause, round of hands, and everything. All those things around. Wait, where's my? There you go. It's gonna happen. It's happening right now. It's good. It's boom. My fucking. There it is. And also, we got over there to that side. This is actually my right, your left. We got the homie Jamel Watson. He's our actual movie reviewer for the actual show itself, man. So give a round of applause for this young gentleman. So, gentlemen, how was your holidays? Gentlemen? How was your holiday?
I did my best to make my holidays drama free.
That's okay. That's okay.
Did a pretty good
Nice
job.
and quiet. I was chill with family for a little bit, and then I was by myself. I'm good.
Gotcha, man. So I did try to call you, man. I did try to call you, and I was like, bro, what the fuck is up, man? Like, how you doing? I wanted to know what. I just don't believe that people should not be people should be spending time by themselves on holidays like this. So with that, man, I hope that like the conversation made you feel a little warmer.
How was your holiday? How was your holiday with the kids, the wife, the family? How was it?
Don't you push off my love for you for a second. I was trying to love on you for a second. Don't you do that.
I was showing concern for how yours was, sir.
It was good, man. It was good, man. It was good. It was all right. I can't complain too much. We got fucking mood bots that they're doing their shit. Their show on stream, I guess. Boom. We're gonna mood bots. Mood bots. Just enter the space. So big shout out to everybody who's actually going to start watching this actual stream. I did well, man. I did perfectly fine. I got a couple of gifts, and I don't usually get gifts, and felt pretty fucking cared about for a little bit. It went well today, man. It went well. What about you, JT? How was your holiday?
My holiday was quiet. I tell you what, I stayed out the drama. Other people didn't, so I had to handle a lot of business this week. It's been a lot of running around Michigan handling business, y'all, putting out fires.
Fair enough. Now with that, man, God dang it, this. Oh, so now that we've kind of done it, we've gone through the holidays. I'm going to ask you a question because we're going to review this one part. We had 3 movies that we reviewed. Quick question. After we done dealt with all our holiday season, what movie relates best to your Christmas? I'll start with
Black Dynamite.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ.
You mean the movies that we just watched, or
Christmas movie? The 3 Christmas movies. That's what JT knew. What the fuck he was doing?
I mean,
which one of the
quiet
3
as
Christmas
kept,
movies?
none of them really do. But I'd say Muppet Christmas Carol.
Muppet Christmas
That's
Carol.
the closest, because I didn't get robbed by a Santa Claus, and I didn't have to rush out to buy nothing for anybody. So I couldn't relate to those other two movies. So Christmas Carol, that's the closest one.
All right, I feel you on that one. What's up, Neon? How you doing, man? Thanks a lot for joining us at the stream. What about you, JT? Come on, be honest. True answer. Out of the three movies, Jingle All the Way, Muppets Christmas Carol, Friday After Next, which movie related to describe your Christmas day with one of these three movies?
I was Gonzo all day long.
You was Gonzo. Oh, damn. That's dope. That's dope. All right. Cool. I think I'm gonna have to go with Friday After Next for my fucking Christmas.
Oh, y'all got robbed?
Of our time. Of our time. We got robbed of our fucking time.
He said, I want my evening back. This was some bull.
Big shout outs to the new name, XD. But yeah, man, we my kids did get blessed with an Xbox, so we have all three consoles in the house. Big shout outs to that. But yeah, man, it felt like, for real though, it just felt like one of those days, man. So I appreciate time and family and everything like that, but there was points in time you were kind of like, I don't know if I really want to hang out with these niggas. So beyond that though, man, it was okay. It was okay. Bravo for them. What is some New Year's resolutions that we have? I'm knocking out all of them right now as we stand. Let's knock out all the questions, the generalized questions, so we can move on to our year review. What was your New Year's resolution? What is your New Year's resolution current day at this point in time? Let's go with Jamel on
one.
that
Oof. I ain't gonna lie and be like, oh, I want to lose weight. Yeah, I want to, but I ain't gonna make that no resolution. I'm gonna just say something generic. I want to be a better person in 2023 than I was in 2022.
Fair enough. What
That's
about
an
you,
attainable goal.
That's understandable.
You got to understand, it's always a duality with me. So half of me is like, you know what? I want to spread more love. The other half is like, I want to spread more bitch smack throughout the land.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
The duality of man.
All right. So I have minor little mini goals. I have a petty goal. I have two petty goals that I really want to happen. And
those are?
I feel like God has sent me to piss the world off for 2023. So I want the African t-shirts, and I really want to make. I have ideas for the African. I want the African t-shirts, and one of the ideas that I want for the African t-shirts, I want to do. It's a stick figure, half black, like half filled in black, and then the other half white, just like. And I want him to have a fucking t-shirt on, and then it has like a half like African colors, like the stereotypical like red, black, and green, but the other half is tie-dye t-shirt. And I just want that to just be say residential African. I think that's the current idea, but I want that to be the piss the world off t-shirt.
I had a different idea.
Okay, what's your idea?
And it was essentially you take America and you cut off the top half. And you put the bottom half on of Africa that looked like it got the little horn on there. That's Florida sticking out. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough.
There's your half.
Okay, cool. I think we go.
My idea was we have kind of the same deal, half black, half white, but the black half has half a sweet potato pie, white half has half pumpkin pie.
Oh, that sounds. I like these ideas. I think we should write them down. I think we should table these ideas. These
are being recorded. So.
I want these to be like part of the thing, bro. Are you gonna go back and listen to these podcasts, nigga? I'm just throwing it out there. It's gonna be easy to find the text. So it's gonna be easy. I gotta listen to the.
Once they go in that file format, it's a wrap.
I gotta listen to that shit. I'll be like,
once my words leave my mouth, and once we start recording, I forget.
So
it has been etched in the tomes of digital time.
XD with the fucking clip it
to be uncompressed upon the appropriate hour.
Which, by the way, man,
Call it what
whatever-
I said, man. That's what the recordings is for. You want to know what I said? Go back, watch the recording, everybody.
I am gonna put this out there, man.
XD, appreciate you clipping it. Make sure you clip it, share it, spread the word.
I will say this, man. Make sure
We
you,
love you, XD.
if you
Neon Yellow
enjoy
Games for life.
whatever you enjoy, clip it and send it to me, or like send me the timestamps of them, so that I can actually clip them and actually put them on. I was just telling like Jamel, we can now do audio like videos. I'm sorry, on Spotify. So putting those fucking videos on Spotify, clipping those things, and trying to get them into the actual reels for YouTube is a big fucking thing. So let's get this fucking podcast founded some kind of way and get some more people watching it, man. So clipping is a good thing. Clipping is a good thing, but I still would like a text format. It will be easier for me to dig for. With that, man. The next one is my most pettiest shirt of all. Is the black Air Force sensitive T-shirt. I want that. I want a black Air Force covered up in the garbs of a Jedi. And I don't want lightsabers on it. But if they do have lightsabers, you know where the little plastic parts at the tip of the shoestrings, that will be the lightsaber portion. Huh? That will be it. And
the whole lightsaber is the lace.
The lace.
Strangle somebody with that lightsaber.
I want the lace.
Burn your hand trying to tie your shoes.
And I want fucking electricity around. I want the motherfucking Air Force to look like Palpatine. I want that. I want a black Air Force sensitive T-shirt. I want this to send the world, to piss the world off. I want that. That's my petty goals. I think my biggest goal is I really want to get into the actual doing voiceover work. I want that to be a fucking goal. I really want to do the voiceover work, but I also want to like really focus on doing a narrative media and having it be a podcast, not a podcast network. So, for example, if JT wanted to do some more podcasting, I record this shit on a fucking Tuesday. Jamel wants to do his podcast on another day, record that shit, and we just fucking build that motherfucker and just make it a narrative media, a full fucking podcast network. I graduated with the intention of working at a radio station. This is going to be my digital version of a radio station. So I'm super fucking proud of that. Something went wrong with clips. It's okay, bro. Trust me, you're fine. So just write down the timestamp. It's okay. With that, man, that's my mini goal. And the last one is doing an application so I can get my master's in social work. I think I'm going to take that fucking leap and actually utilize a different like portion of my field. That's my biggest thing. With that, man, Jamel, let's start off the fucking project. I know that usually you start off with a movie review. We usually do I say what I said, but I want to start off with you because you've wrote down technically what the fuck the show is going to be about. So, man, I'm going to let you pilot this thing straight through. Let's go.
All right. So it is the end of the year, and if you see your favorite YouTube channels, if you see TV throughout, you see a bunch of end of year stuff. So I figure why don't we join in and get into the mood with everyone else. So what we're gonna do is, instead of us doing the I said what I said in the normal fashion, where history brings a couple of different topics and me and JT, as well as history, give our opinions on it. What we're gonna do is each of us has brought a big overarching topic that we feel has been significant that's happened throughout 2022. And so I think JT just got done jotting some stuff down. So we're going to have JT. No, JT's not going to kick us off. He's not
What's up? Keep talking.
No, I was going to say JT is going to kick us off with the first topic of the day that we're going to just go over and riff on for a little bit before we go into my topic and then close things out with history's topic.
Come on, punk. Look here. Look here, motherfucker. I got something to say. Try to talk to you. The nerve of some of these cameras, I tell you what. Anyhow, listen. My topic today, y'all. I was supposed to have a sound cue for this, but brother, I'm busy. Is war.
Okay.
One of the things that a lot of people feel uneasy about is being at a time of war. You always want to feel like you're at peace. Peace times are nice, quiet, civil, right? It's the theory, anyway. It's the theory.
Theoretically.
And so when you are in a time of war, you got to behave different than you would in a time of peace. And so you see people changing their behavior to accommodate the needs of, their assumed needs of society. Back in the day, being at war times meant ration lines, food tickets. You know what I'm saying? This is where a lot of voucher programs come from. Like, we got to ration y'all off, but you're going to get your food. Here it is. The rest of it's going to the army so they can fight. It's not like that anymore these days. And so when the war in Ukraine kicked off and just kept going, it was one of the most interesting, I think, things. The whole world just kind of stopped and was like, dog, for real? Russia, what are you doing? And, to think that America itself tried to withhold $400 or $400 billion from Ukraine for their defense. We see how imminent the threat of Russia actually was. And knowing that, get some dirt on Joe Biden, all of a sudden takes a little bit different turn. Knowing that Putin was plotting and planning this whole time.
Yeah.
And then when you see, and so you got to understand that Ukraine used to be part of the Soviet Union back in the day. It used to be part of Russia, y'all. And so as far as Russia is concerned, we're just going back to take our borders back because that's part of Russia anyway. It's always been. We were just letting Ukraine use it, but they got these deposits and they got these factories and stuff. So we want them and they're on our turf. So we're just going to go take it. Says no civilized country at all. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so the whole world is watching and we see Putin thinking this is going to be an easy war, and it's not. And Russia starts losing. Oh, my goodness. And so I'll tell you something interesting about Russia. Russia loves to remind its people that it's at war with the United States. Because in Russia's opinion, who you are fighting with dictates your bracket, your level. And America is a superpower, and we are at war with America. We are a superpower. You see how that works, citizens? And so you have a lot of people who are on the street talking talking about how Russia's going to win this war in Ukraine. And then you have the friggin' secret police come and pick them up, put them in a van, like, all right, thanks for volunteering. It's incredible. It's incredible, y'all. Straight incredible. So this is how we get to view warfare now in 2022. And pretty much the whole world just watches as Russia invades the Ukraine completely unprompted. And of course, a whole bunch of people sell Ukraine some weapons to go whoop that ass and keep their homeland free. God dang inspirational, I tell you what. And so, fellas, I mean, what do you think that the average American's takeaway would be from the war in Ukraine? Jamel, what you think?
For me, just my personal take, my whole life, we've heard or we've seen on the news, Russia get hyped up. Like, it's Russia. It's the Russian bear. It's this big, bad military. And this war in Ukraine is proven that Russia ain't it. And for a country that used to be the second superpower on Earth, they look shockingly incompetent during this war. And not only that, it's very possible that not only will Ukraine repel them, Ukraine is going to win this war, or at the very least, get Russia the hell out of their country. And this could have a domino effect because, well, this ain't a good look for Putin, and Putin might end up being retired the old school way from Russia. If you ain't familiar, do a little research. Look up Leon Trotsky and Joseph Stalin. and see how Trotsky ended up. But it's just fascinating watching this because it's like, wow, Ukraine without like actual on the ground troops from any of the NATO countries, they're holding back Russia. So I think it has shattered the illusion of what Russia is. Russia's not a giant economy like us or China. Russia is, like, honestly, it's kind of a clown show, to be quite honest with you. And that's just my thought. And I think some Americans, especially more right leaning, more militaristic leaning, probably had some admiration or respect for Russia heading into this. Like, yeah, that's might makes right. And we're seeing, nah, bro, they're not it. And this is the second war within the last 50 years that is just not going well for Russia. The second being, or the more prominent, was Russia and how they handled Afghanistan back in the day. So
we also fed the insurgents some weaponry that they then
yeah.
used to shoot at us when we went back to Afghanistan.
Before I turn over to history, if you look up the history of Afghanistan, it is almost impossible to invade and maintain control of it. Historically, like even not just with the U.S., what we did in the war on terror, and not just with Russia and their invasion of Afghanistan, historically, it's a hard ass country to maintain control over. So that's just me. Russia, they've been exposed.
Wasn't
Like
it
in 4K, they have been exposed.
Wasn't it in the movie Rambo or First Blood? Like there was a person that was supposed to be from Afghanistan said that like in the movie that you cannot control Afghanistan. You cannot like run Afghanistan. You can invade it as many times as you want to, but the people will prevail no matter what.
Yeah, it was in one of them. I know the line that you're talking about. I can't remember the specific.
Yeah, I can't remember
Rambo.
exactly. I do remember like Rambo in the middle of the fucking desert with this dude who was supposed to be Arabic, and he fucking said that to him. And
he was probably just white or Italian.
Yeah, he was probably white at the time. You give him something though. So to kind of go off of that as a person who actually served in that and actually know about that lifestyle of being in the military a little bit, I would just say that like I think we should take it as more shocking that there hasn't been a dispute where we sent out soldiers itself, because even when I was in basic training, we are allied technically with South Korea, and they were training. They wound up switching our training when I was in basic training for North Korea, and that was because of the fact that they had a few firefights at the wall separating North Korea from South Korea. So it surprises me that like there's no conversation about it as much, but also that conversation may have happened, but amongst the soldiers themselves. I would also say the same thing happened with Egypt as well. Coincidentally, if you know anything about I don't really take my kid's name out loud or my personal family names out loud, my name out loud on an internet for specific reasons. So I prefer the HisStory Williams for a reason. But my daughter had a coincidental name. Let's just leave it at that. And this is during the time that I was in the army, and this is before they had an announcement that this group exists. So with that, yeah, exactly. Before this group exists, and so we named my daughter based off of something else, and this group exists. But when that group got announced, like we were even starting to like train for Egypt and train for all of this stuff because that's when Gaddafi passed away. That's when Arab Springs happened. All that stuff was happening. So we were starting to train to go more
it's
northern.
Generous to say that he passed away.
That is
I don't want to interrupt.
It is very generous. Yeah.
Real quick, and I did not realize I did this when I was in college. I showed the video of them dragging Gaddafi off to eventually get executed, where he was getting shish kebab
Gaddafi.
repeatedly. Gaddafi, yeah, it was. I did not
Gaddafi.
realize. I did not realize what I was showing in class. I was half-assing it, and I'm just like, oh, this is like the actual hardcore video of Gaddafi getting fucking stabbed. So yeah, whew, he got stabbed on his way to an execution. That is
But
messed up.
that's the thing though, like,
But
you know, the crazy thing about like and this is kind of one of the reasons why I loved fucking media ecology, bro. And I love my undergrad. I don't regret my undergrad degree, even though I feel like I'm actively not using it sometimes. But I love the idea of when I got my when I was in grad school and towards the end of undergrad, that I started learning about things like Arab Springs. I started learning about like the effectiveness of social media and media in getting these protests started, getting awareness of these particular things. Like, we would not have a lot of these things if it wasn't for Facebook. Think about it like that. We would not have seen that Gaddafi execution if it wasn't for fucking Facebook. We would have not know what the fuck was going on if it wasn't for that, because of the fact that it just
People would
happens.
not know that the earth. They would not know that the earth was flat if it wasn't for Facebook. People would not know that vaccines kill if it wasn't for Facebook or cause autism or whatever else have you.
I get where you're trying to go with it, but you would have not known it at the rate of speed, and it would not
that
have.
goes into something I'll talk about later. Keep talking, history.
Well, well, finish what you were saying.
Oh, well, the whole point about that is how Facebook was actually used by Russia, and Russia is essentially their cyber army arm. They got like a CIA branch, and all they did was they went to war with other countries by attacking them with bad information. And so because of Facebook, you know, because of Twitter, mostly Facebook, these stupid ideas are given more platform because of the algorithms that are designed to just simply promote whatever is getting clicks. And so Russia is largely responsible for a lot of the anti-vaccine information that you have out there. They're largely responsible for a lot of the voter fraud stuff that you saw. Rudy Giuliani said he started up voter fraud because he saw a meme on Facebook. So he opened up a lawsuit because of a meme on Facebook in one of the states. You can't make this stuff up. But just because of friggin' Facebook, you get the Gaddafi video out there because it's given a big platform to everyone. And it also does the same with misinformation. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it does do a big job with like misinformation, but like social media has done it's done damage and it's done wonders in a lot of ways. I will actively say that. Like, I can actively admit that social media has destroyed people's careers. Like, I am against the fact that Kyrie Irving posted the shit about like the Hebrews and Negroes. Even though it was a post, it was still actively supporting something. Like, think about it like this. Jamel, you reviewed Morbius, right?
right.
Right. Okay, so did you share a link of Morbius as soon as it came out on Netflix?
Nah.
Yeah, cool. You get my point? So if you didn't like something, then you didn't share you didn't give it a time of day, right? But if you supported something, you fucking share that shit.
Right.
You share that
That's
shit.
the only reason you share stuff, because you support it.
Exactly. The only time that you will have a negative review is obviously when the person gives you that review time, right? So Jamel had that review fucking time. He has that platform for that negative review. But for you to basically just be like, open-ended. I'm gonna say this. He's guilty of basically saying something without saying nothing. With saying nothing. And he should have said something with the caption. If you would have put up like, man, this is trash, then he would be a lot more innocent in a lot of ways. But because of the fact that he was like, well, I'm going on my spiritual journey and I'm looking for this particular thing. It made it fucking worse. It made a situation worse, and it's basically saying that what he was saying is holding true and is holding glue. It's so the platform has done damage, and I will agree with you. Is given a place for people to say some dumbass shit and do dumbass shit, but it also has given places where we can actually utilize it for journalism. We can use it for protests. We can use it to be able to get ideas to kind of coagulate a little bit better. So it's surprising how this is not considered more of a wonder than actually then it's considered a weapon of mass destruction. It's one of those weird fucking things. That makes sense what I'm saying?
Well, let's talk about the nature of social media for just a quick second. Essentially, I want you to look at social media like this is my testimony. So whatever you share on there, you're giving credence to. So even the fact that you don't agree with the documentary that Kyrie Irving posted, you still know its name. You still shared its name with the viewers. I honestly don't think that documentary is worth checking out. You know what I'm saying? Is part of a package for Black people that says, hey, you know, some of your other stuff was robbed, which is a real easy bill for Black people to swallow, you know, easy pill for Black people to swallow these days, because a lot of their stuff was stolen from them.
Yeah.
But what it's pretty much doing is giving your testimony on social media to whatever that may be. And I think one of the worst things people do is use social media like it's their friggin' diary. Because you out there complaining about everybody and talk about how you're the only one who's right, this, that, and the other thing, and nobody, you know, pay no bills but you or whatever, and you still be going to run hustles to get your nails did or whatnot. Like that's not what you're doing. Because when you put it on social media, you're making that your testimony.
Yeah.
You're going out and you standing out in the public square digitally, and you yelling out a bunch of nonsense. And the issue is that's what everybody else is doing too. And so now you pretty much have, if you put that mess public, anybody can share any dumbass idea with zero verifiable information in it. And that is the downside to social media. Now, what social media is great at doing is connecting people. You know what I'm saying? Like when you post pictures of your kids, the grandparents can immediately see them on Facebook. And then you don't have to go sending them to everybody. You don't have to send out Christmas cards. You can post that mess to Facebook, be like, Merry Christmas, everybody. Here's the nicest picture I took on the 25th. You know what I'm saying? So it's got its uses. But when countries like Russia start attacking us because of it, it's time to make some new regulations on this month.
So, and I'm gonna write a poll real fast on Twitter real fast as well. It's gonna be on other platforms later. Do you use social media as a diary?
Before, so final thoughts on the subject, on the grander subject. And I like where we went, using the war in Ukraine kind of to springboard off into a couple of different directions. HisStory, any final thoughts before we move on to the next topic?
I guess the problem that I have with the idea of the war in Ukraine is the same conversation that we had several times when it came to Brittany Griner, when it came to other people, like, for example, going back into Kyrie Irving, where we looked at it as a public lynching, is the idea that, like, Kyrie Irving posted something stupid, and then he followed it up with a stupid response. But that doesn't mean that he deserves the shit that he had to go through just to go back to play for the Brooklyn Nets. Now, granted, it must have lit a fire up his ass because the Nets been fucking dominant since fucking that happened, right? It moved something in him. So I guess if that's what's gonna make the Nets do better, I guess.
Listen, I'll tell you
why. They also got a better coach too,
and they got a better coach since then. Yeah,
I'll tell you why though. If you play basketball good enough and you get enough endorsements and enough money, you can say whatever the frick you want to say. Can't nobody tell you nothing. So if Kyrie come home, bring home a championship, he can talk whatever mess he wants to after that.
Yeah.
He's also playing for a new contract because this is his final contracted year in Brooklyn, and he also endangered some of his Nike sponsorship. So he he kind of playing for his life. It's not quite Kobe during the whole rape trial when he was balling out of his mind, but he's playing for the rest of his career. JT, do you have any final thoughts before we ship off to the next topic?
Well, you know how they say the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I think,
Mhm.
a lot of us have a common enemy. And I think I want to encourage people to go out and find your enemy's enemy and go make some friends, y'all. It's time to have more friends. And you need to know who's against you, and you need to buddy up with other people.
Um, and I didn't get to finish my statement on it, but I just
Well,
think that
finish
like
it.
Go right ahead.
it's outlandish that like we're focused on Ukraine, and I get the I'm not saying that Ukraine is not worth it. I do think the idea of being invaded for a petty ass reason is definitely hurtful, but I mean, there's other things that just fucking happened that like we really need to like talk about and have this come to Jesus conversation, because we still ain't talking about how uh basically the royals took precedence over indigenous awareness in Australia, right? They had a simple news broadcast, and it was people just talking shit about the indigenous people of Australia, right? And because of the fact that they did not believe that they should be like pushing off their day just because of the fact that the queen had just passed away, right? It's their fucking day. You colonized their country, and then all of a sudden, their continent, and now you're saying, hey, you gotta praise this queen that like really fucking took or this family who took away a lot of shit from you. There's still modern slavery that's going on in places like Africa and Southern Europe. Um, there's the idea that we had to basically vote to say that slavery is illegal in 3 states this past election.
Well, history, you are stepping on some part of the topic that I'm going to cover.
Oh, okay, about to say, I
And
apologize.
furthermore, I don't see why you say, I don't know why we talk about Ukraine and we got other important stuff. Negro, you got your own section of stuff to talk about. Let me talk about my
Exactly.
section.
Well, no,
Raggedy.
I was
That's
supporting your
how you
section.
started the whole segment. Go back, listen to that shit. You sound raggedy as a bug.
I
Go ahead and
apologize.
click that. Go ahead and click
Clip
that.
that.
I was trying.
Did history sound raggedy when he started talking
Yeah.
about how he didn't make his
History.
point? I think so.
Well, no, I was in the middle of a point, and then like you kind of chimed in on it, and then like it kind of took it off, and he was like, "JT, what do you have to say?" Go ahead, but go
Speaking
ahead.
of topics, speaking of next topics that we're going to talk about in this section and not jump around history.
Okay, go ahead, do your thing.
Uh,
I feel that pettiness that just came out. I feel that pettiness.
anyway,
Go ahead.
so you mentioned some voting that happened. This year was a midterm year. And historically, midterm years never end well for the party that's in charge of the White House. If Democrats in charge, you can usually expect a lot of Republican victories and vice versa. And Joe Biden, not exactly the most popular, like he ain't at Trump levels yet, but his approval ratings were in the 40s. We were heading towards a recession. There were a lot of problems going on. And this year, people were expecting what were they calling it on the news? A red wave. Just the House, the Senate, both going towards the Republicans. And there were a gang of other races across the country for various rights that were on the line because this past summer, the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, putting in danger a lot of reproductive rights that have been fought for over the last few decades. A lot of crazy ass candidates were up for elections. Out here, we had Carrie Lake, who was the female Donald Trump. In Michigan, y'all had Tudor Dixon. There was a lot going on, and I'll put this out there from our little group chats that we have. I was concerned, like, ooh, this is not going to end well. But something happened. Didn't quite go that way. There were a lot of races that did not go the way that analysts were thinking, and a ton of these election denying, conspiracy theorists, outwardly horrible people, they lost. The one out here in Arizona, Carrie Lake, she lost the governor's race. I Can't Talk Right, aka Herschel Walker, lost in Georgia eventually. And to me, it showed something very fascinating. It showed that America ain't quite as stupid as we thought. We ain't quite as fucked up as we thought. And it's also showing that 45 Tangerine Man is losing his grip because there is a new challenger on the horizon. And so for me, seeing not just the results, but seeing a lot of rights get solidified for women, things like interracial marriage, that getting protection over the last few months with the elections, that's given me just a small smidge of hope because I don't trust America to do right. What evidence do we have that they're gonna do right over the last 5 years, over the last decade? What America can do wrong, America does wrong. But this election gave me just a little bit of hope. We're gonna start off with JT. What are your thoughts on the politicalized year that we have had here in 2022? Midterms,
Well,
before, after. What are your thoughts?
First off, I wanted to touch on a point you had made earlier that the midterms are generally not favorable for whatever party is in the White House. Do you know why?
Elaborate.
So there's this turtleneck motherfucker named Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell was the Senate Majority Leader for a long time. And this piece of crap decided that he was just going to rule from his little, sixth in the country spot or wherever he was. Mitch McConnell found out that you could completely stonewall a president's agenda. And then you could go to your constituents and say, hey, look, this president can't get nothing done. We need other people in the White House who will get things done. Vote Republican. And that shit actually worked, even when they were the ones stonewalling. So I think part of what's happening right now is Republicans, especially ex-Republicans, people on the right, they're figuring out what the Republican game is. They're figuring out that conservatism is not actually, the God and country stance that they thought it was. It's actually more of a fascist feel to it. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these faith and flag conservative folks, who think that America is a godly nation, and America is not a Christian nation. Godly and Christian can be two different things, y'all. But America was not founded as a nation for Christians by Christians, as a lot of people on the right seem to think. That's why you see folks going around with them coexist bumper stickers. Let me tell you, when I was a kid, I hated them bumper stickers because I was like, a lot of them people want us dead. And then I got older and I was like, man, if a bunch of Christians would shut up and actually love people like they were taught, the world would be a better place. And it's kind of the same thing. When the devil finds some raggedy Christians, he can go over there and he can try to stop you from doing anything. He can stonewall you. And then as the accuser, he can go be like, look at this, man. These Christians ain't doing nothing. We need somebody different up in here. Exact same way. So, to see the Republicans doing this thing, it is clearly demonic. It is absolutely fraudulent because they are the ones who are the obstruction. And all we got to do is flush them and we can actually pass some new laws that matter. The other thing Mitch McConnell did was he refused to bring bills to a vote. So when he left office, he had 400 plus bills he refused to bring to a vote. And now we have a problem called the filibuster. So before the Senate actually votes on a bill, they got to vote if they're going to vote on it. How the hell is that any different than voting on a bill? So Anyway, this is some of the reasons why the midterm was not the red wave that people thought it was. Because folks are getting wise to the actual problems in Washington. I think people are actually seeing it. And after everybody on the right bet so heavily on Donald Trump, minus maybe, I don't know, 2% of people who are actually in Congress, everybody bet so heavily on him. And now we find out, oh, yeah, he absolutely had previous knowledge of, what he was doing with January 6th. He absolutely was trying to defraud America by consciously lying about the ballots and stuff. You just can't support that when you know you're getting lied to. And that was the bread and butter for 4 years, was you getting lied to. I think a bunch of people on the right got sick of it. And they started wondering, hey, where's actually the people who represent me? Because only people who was running around in Michigan was the folks Donald Trump put his little seal on, and they basically swept the primaries. And I actively went to go vote, and I voted Republican so I could vote against all the crazy yahoos that Donald Trump was trying to instill, which would make his return easier. So I think a lot of people are absolutely sick and fed up of what's going on here, Jamel. And I'm really happy to see it too. I'm really happy that this midterm was the highest turnout for midterms we've had, because we cannot let one election go by without voting in it. We can't, especially as black people. When black people go vote, whatever they vote on happens. We are such a big demographic, but we're not out there voting. That's the problem. So I really hope that what we learned from 2022 in the midterms is go out and vote because it matters.
All right, history. Go ahead and chime in with your thoughts on not just the midterm, but the political landscape that we've had over the past year in general. What are your thoughts, good sir?
So there's a couple of theories on why the president loses the midterms, and one of them obviously is that like people get tired of the president by the time the 2 years are done. Think about like the idea of like what happened with Kamala. I was about to say Kamala Harris. And then also think about like, you mean Joe Biden being sick and all these other things. So people got sour on a lot of things. I mean, he had a really low turnout, like a low approval rating. He was like at 40% or something like that, or maybe even a little bit lower than that. So it was surprising that he got to that point, and it wasn't because of the fact that Joe Biden was a good president is the reason why we won. We kind of maintained, I guess, the House and during the past midterm. Another theory is that people just think that we won and we just forget about the midterms. We do the big thing, and then realistically, more people who are conservative, they go and they vote despite the fact of that. So the theory is basically saying that like liberals are lazy, and that's not necessarily true neither. So it's very tough. But I would say that this political landscape has largely been a war for the aspect of rightness and not necessarily for what is right. If that makes sense, what I'm about to say. We are so hell bent on the idea.
You mean for what is right, not what is right. For
Yeah,
the right to dictate what's right, not what is actually right.
Yeah. So like one of the things.
Crazy.
Yeah,
that's heavy.
That's yeah. So like one of the things that is that's coming back up is about well, one of the things that came up this past time, which was in like June, was abortion laws, right? We talked about abortion laws, and we were so hell bent. And I say we because of the fact that collectively, this is a country. And remember, they're gonna have that one person that said we all bleed red, and that when the lights are off, we all are black, and all these weird ass fucking statements is basically prove that we got the one race, right? But yet and still, we don't have autonomy of a female's body. So for us to sit there and say that, like, nah, man, hey, you a bunch of dudes say, nah, man, you can't have this thing happen for your body. It's petty. It's not what's right. It's not what's correct to the actual system itself. So I would say that, like, realistically, like, isn't we were so busy on trying to put what we thought was our spiritual rightness and not necessarily what's at that point in time. What is the actual correct thing to do for a person? Now we shouldn't have the fucking fight over this. Like, we don't have no. I use the plastic surgery analogy as the best analogy. God has technically gave you that big ass nose, but you go to a plastic surgeon to shave that motherfucker down. And so technically, God that gave you that, and you're changing that motherfucker. So if we're going to use that same analogy of that, like, God intended for this thing to happen, then we should use the same analogy for all types of things like plastic surgery. And granted, here you've heard me several times say that I support people who are trans, but that also goes for them as well. And so if God has put that part in your body, God didn't make no mistakes. So, and I stick to that. So I think that there's a hypocrisy behind it. So if you are a person, and there have been people who are gay who have voted against this fucking thing as well. There's been people who have been what's it called? The Daily Beast, I want to say it was. They had this guy, he's gay, and he's known for fucking like writing all this super conservative shit. I'm gonna put his name as soon as I find him in the fucking show notes. I'm gonna put his name.
Milo Eponymous or something.
Yes, like that. Yes, that motherfucker. Yeah,
they got people far right.
He is far fucking right, and gay as fuck.
He is so far right. He is left. That's how far right he is.
Yeah,
it don't work like that, homie. That's the problem. It don't work like that.
Yeah. And you have people like that. So it's not just fucking no. To quote another fucking JT quote, no, boo-boo. No, boo-boo. Don't just think that it's just some white old man that's in a trailer somewhere writing that shit. There's people who are fucking black, brown, whatever, doing these stupid ass fucking votes as well. So with that, if we're going to sit there and say that we're going to have autonomy over somebody else's fucking body, then we're going to have autonomy over the body, period. If we're going to fucking do it, because that's the way that God wanted it.
But as opposed to that, we get this pick and choosing. And we get, now we're going to apply the laws heavily to you because you're trans, and we're not going to apply the laws to you at all because you're a man.
Man, yes.
You know what I'm saying? And like the creepiest thing about these anti-abortion folks is when they pass these anti-abortion laws, who is the ones that suffer? Women with ectopic pregnancies where the fetus is developing outside of the womb, outside of the designated baby incubating growing area, y'all.
Yeah.
The woman will die. Oh, you can't get an abortion. We can't kill that. We can't kill that fetus. We can't abort that fetus.
Yes.
But the woman's going to die now. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, you really, it's a great conundrum that you have presented to the people, because it's pretty true. That logic, if you're willing to do it, well, then go the whole way.
Yeah.
Sorry, honey, I guess God wanted you to die.
Yes.
But that doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would we let this woman, let's try again. Maybe we can get a right pregnancy. This matters because this woman is here standing in front of us. She's with us. And the other people that needed it was underage girls. How is that their fault?
Yeah.
It ain't.
Yeah. And
when you see these laws up, there are some hateful MFs that think they deserve to tell women what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, it's women who just like, I don't want to be a mother at this point. That's their business.
And you know what? They're probably right.
People are so gassed up on that anti-abortion side with abortion, but don't really pipe up about any of the other things surrounding the child. People aren't, they don't speak up about prenatal care. They don't speak up about education, early education. They don't speak up about the shortages that we've had over the past year for diapers and for formula. and everything that goes into having a child. But the child itself, oh, we got to protect that. And then, which is also a little bit of something else that's ironic, is that a lot of people who are super pro-life are also pro-death penalty, and that kind of don't jive with me. It's like, let's keep the baby alive long enough for him to fuck up, and then we can kill him. But
it's because they want to play
I mean,
God. They think they have the ability to do that and actually enforce these rules. But what you got to remember is when you're making a good law, you make a law that is good boundaries for the society, not for a sect. And so we have a lot of, you got to remember, like, Republicans are like a third of the population, guys. They are the minority. But yet they have 50% of the power, the representation in our government. And that's really one of the reasons why you have this. When you go outside of your little small podunk community, you go to a big city, you will see how rubbing shoulders with people every day changes your mindset. It changes your worldview, because you don't get to sit there and enjoy your big, acres with never seeing nobody for days at a time. When you in the city, when you gotta ride public transportation with people, when you seeing a dude wearing a diaper over down there riding the subway, that changes how you think about society, and it changes the laws that you think of as well. But when you got folks, especially rich folks, who are off on their own, they don't ever have to interact with no riffraff. They in their car till they get to their destination, and then they walk inside. So unless they're interrupted between their car and whatever building they were going to, they never have to interact with the public, with society. Unless there's the people in there, especially when you start going around your own groups, you get an echo chamber. And so it's necessary to be around other people to know what a good law looks like, because we're not trying to make laws for just the Christians. We're trying to make laws for everybody. And if somebody tries to tell my wife, hey, this baby is going to kill you, you got to abort this pregnancy. Well, guess what I'm doing? I'm gonna apologize to God, and I'm gonna be like, you better shake me by the shoulders and tell me we can go through with this, and it's not gonna kill my wife. That's the only way this is gonna happen, Lord.
I've said this.
That's me.
I say this to my wife, and I say this several times, man. Once those kids turn 18, between the ages of 18 and 24, man, and they out the house, you got to deal with me for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? And think about this also. You know what I mean? I've also met people who've had parents who've had kids who had their parents pass away. That shit is a different type of beast to fucking deal with, man. And then also, like, think about another fucking, like, I love when people use, and I'm doing it right now intentionally, when people use extremes to be able to actually defend their argument. So say, like, if mom passed away, right? A year later, dad passes away from a fucking car accident. You got to deal with that kid being in the fucking like the adoption agency, the foster home system. So now you got a kid that's in the system as well already. Statistically, if a kid is part of the actual system, that means that they actually have a higher chance of, and this part is true, statistically, they have a higher chance of being part of the being incarcerated, being on drugs, being on these other types of, like, negative consequences. Statistically, it skyrockets. Just the way statistically it skyrockets when you have a family member who a close family member who commits suicide. If you're a parent and you commit suicide, you have a astronomically high chance for your child to at least to commit suicide. Just like if you are a person who graduates with a degree, you have an astronomically higher chance for your kid to get a degree that's at least that's a degree at least below. So if you have a bachelor's degree, your kid is going to at least get an associate's degree. If you have a master's degree, your kid is going to at least get a bachelor's degree. So those chances go up no matter what. So this is even beyond the aspect of that. So for Congress, or for people in these particular chairs to sit there and say that we're going to take autonomy over somebody else, that's the hypocrisy to that. There's a lot of fucking hypocrisy to that.
Well,
and
it where do you think the hypocrisy stems from, HisStory?
I know that you're gonna I know that you are gonna probably disagree with me on this one. And I do think that, like, honestly, it does a lot of times it is the main suspect is religion. is usually the actual part of it. But I'm gonna say in the aspect of like when you have a religion that is defending whiteness, it's fucking tough. I don't feel like religion in the aspect of like when you have a person who's black or brown sitting there saying that like, yo, I'm doing this for God. You know what I mean? I think that that's a less common thing. Whereas a person who is white saying, I'm doing this because of Jesus. I just I that's just me personally. But I'm not saying that that's the correct answer. I do hear the more that's my common experience is when I hear a person say you can't have an abortion because of the fact that like it's against God.
That means that you can't have an abortion. They
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people miss is that personal.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the part that I would say. The same thing when it comes to like gay rights. It's an abomination amongst God, and it's like, but is it though? You know what I mean? It's like shit like that. You know what I mean? It's I think it's hilarious that we don't think that homosexuality is not a natural fucking thing of nature. You know what I mean? It's part of nature. There's fucking homosexuality in a lot of fucking animals and creatures. So for us to sit there and say because of the fact that we have autonomy of our thumbs and we stand upright and we may communicate amongst each other, that this thing is not a thing, it's fucking silly. So but I just don't think that like if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. It doesn't mean that it's right. It may be right. It's kind of like fucking mac and cheese. Some people like to put raisins in the mac and cheese. Doesn't mean that it's correct. I don't welcome it. I don't welcome it technically.
Janet.
Exactly. I don't welcome it to the Thanksgiving table. You know what I mean? But if that's what works for you, enjoy it at your house.
Hold on. The historical voices from the East Side got something to say about this. Jamel, talk on this travesty before I hear it one time.
Yeah.
Who the fuck if you find out that they put raisins in the macaroni and cheese, leave. Like there's no further reason for you to associate.
But you're supporting my point. You're supporting my point.
No, here's the thing.
Your point was that's okay for you.
This is against nature. That's not okay for anybody. That's not okay for anybody. That's not acceptable.
That's what you want.
That's an affront to God. That's in the Bible. That is in 2 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 4. Don't put raisins in macaroni and cheese. You're gonna make Jesus.
Bro, you gotta repeat that. Wait.
Research it and research that. It is in the Bible.
Wait,
raisins and macaroni and cheese. I don't even want to play for that. Like for us to play with that in a hypothetical. That's just horrifying.
What's the Bible verse again?
2 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 4.
Chapter 15.
There ain't one.
There probably isn't a chapter 15 of 2 Corinthians. Point is, God, if you put raisins in macaroni and cheese, you are going to hell. Bottom line.
If I see raisins in mac and cheese, I will not be quiet about it. I will ask, who brought this mac and cheese with the raisins in it? Just like that. And then when you put your hand up, I'm going to throw the mac and cheese at you. So I hope you baked it in one of them cheap tin containers, not that glass one.
I'm not even going to be like, oh, well, this is some white people shit. Nah, I know white people who
going to take your ass home.
Know how to make supper. They wouldn't do that. No, you got to be a thick individual to be like, I'm gonna put these raisins in this macaroni and cheese, and I'm gonna think it's good. Let's move on to.
I gotta make that a poll. I gotta make that a fucking poll, bro. Is there a Bible verse in 2 Corinthians chapter 15 that says you're not supposed to put raisins in your macaroni and cheese, dog? I gotta put that as a fucking poll, bro.
Before we close,
go ahead, move
on. Let's go ahead and any final thoughts, JT? Any final thoughts, history on politics, on midterm? Anything else you guys want to add?
What the fuck, America? That's all I gotta say.
I think I hit it good.
All right. Well, history, now is your turn.
go ahead and take over and wrap up our final 20 with your topic.
Mine is gonna feel like it's gonna hit close to home. Is this, man? I had a fucking hard time with like how many people we lost this year. And I want to say, and I'm sorry to kind of end on a sad note. If you want a positive note, congratulations, Nick Hennon is at baby number 12. I did have a poll actually. I just added a poll for our last podcast episode because we talked about human versus animal competent like matchups. And I want to say, like, let me look up the fucking list. Which, by the way, y'all gotta go on there and look at this actual list. I will definitely read that part. This definitely is. I think that this is answerable questions right now. So the poll was that which is an animal versus human matchup you would like to see happen? Mike Tyson versus a black bear in a fist fight. We stated that. Usain Bolt versus a cheetah in a race. Tony Jaa versus a kangaroo in a kickboxing match. Michael Phelps versus a dolphin in a race. Jack Black versus a panda in a stair climbing competition. First one to fall loses. Tom Stoltman, which is the world's strongest man, versus a silverback gorilla in a tug of war. And then my final matchup would be Nick Cannon versus an Arctic fox in who can produce the most offspring competition. Because Arctic fox are known as the animals that can produce the most offspring with 12 to 22 babies at a point in time.
You mean an Arctic rabbit?
Arctic fox. That's what it's called. Arctic
fox.
The
fox has more babies than the rabbit.
The Arctic fox. I will send you the fucking link, and I will send you some actual stuff. Arctic fox can have a fucking shit ton of babies. Arctic fox can have a shit ton of babies.
22.
Yes, 22 in a litter. Yes. So who will win? And I just, at this point in time, with the announcement of baby number 12, I think that Nick Cannon will win, dog. I think Nick Cannon is gonna go for glory and produce more babies than the Arctic fox. At this rate, because this man had like 5 or 6 kids in the midst of like, 7 months, 8 months. So with that, man, this has been a tough year, man. We lost Twitch, we lost Jason David Frank, we just lost Pele today as well. This is a legendary fucking soccer player. We lost a lot of people, man. And RIP to Megan Thee Stallion's pinky toe. We lost a lot of things this year.
That wasn't right.
So history. This says that the Arctic rabbit has a litter of 15 and Arctic fox goes up to 14.
But there has been known to have some that goes up to 22. There has been known to that. So I don't know. But either way, man, let's give him a handicap. Let's give him a handicap with the 12.
With their longer gestation size? No.
I don't know. But with that, man, I want to say that like I'm going to be vulnerable for a moment, but I'm also going to be very, very like honest about this. I lost my friend, and it's a friend that I never got to meet in IRL, but he's been a friend nonetheless. I've been knowing him for about 2 to 3 years, and sometimes it's tough. It's been very fucking tough. And I know that this is not a global issue or anything like that, but it's an issue nonetheless that is very important to me. But I lost my friend, and I potentially could have lost a second friend. So for us to do a segment at least once a month, calling it the Salty Edition, it means a fucking lot. So I'm gonna say that's the most important thing that happened to me this year. When I first started talking to George, or we know him as Grimlock or Reverend Salty, depends on what platform we go on. He's always been a guy who's tried his best to be as humble as possible, but also tried to be the person that kind of makes it okay to basically laugh and joke about your shit. And it's tough with the idea of like him passing away. Because I talk to him at least 3 to 4 times a week. 4 times every week. We played a lot of video games and everything like that. It just meant a lot. So sometimes I miss my friend, and sometimes I'm disappointed at the fact that it couldn't work. That we could have kept doing this HVFE with him as well. But I will state this is that we lost a lot of people astronomically that actually affected our culture. Like I can't remember not feeling like, oh damn, the best like superhero fight will be between the White Ranger and Scorpion, Green Ranger and Ryu, Batman versus White Ranger and shit like that. Not thinking about like how they affected the culture. And then, Twitch, like seeing him go from like So You Can Dance and so on and so forth. I just think that like we need to kind of acknowledge how many fucking people we've lost that's part of the culture. I'm also going to turn this around and think about like how many productions we lost for no fucking reason. And this is a shout out to HBO Max, who was once a sponsor of this show. HBO had
Streamlabs thinks it still is.
Yeah, Streamlabs keeps thinking that Streamlabs dropped it up at that HBO Max.
Stream
earlier.
Elements, rather.
Yeah, so I had to fix that. That's the biggest thing. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's not canceled for any reason. It's a simple reason why stuff was canceled. Change of leadership. Warner Brothers is going through chaos, and everything that ain't gonna make money is gonna go. So look,
well,
it's fucked up for some, but I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I'm just ready for all the news. I'm ready for everything to settle down, and let's move forward. Go right ahead
with the podcast.
Yeah, man.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, man. Let's go forward. No. It's fine. It's fine. I got that you were joking, but like what I mean by that is that like we have some pretty exciting projects that was coming up for like either production, no matter how we put it. But also on top of that, like the idea that now we're going away from streaming services of what would one person consider the golden age, like the Netflix. Oh shit, we're gonna get a movie with Will Smith and he teams up with an orc to save a fairy on Netflix. We're gonna get like all these creative properties being made without any kind of like consequence, I guess that's to say, and not necessarily have to worry about like bumping heads with not getting anything original. But what happens when you get a lot of supposed original ideas? They start to actually become remakes, reboots, and we've had that over the course of the past 10 years at least. So we are actively watching our streaming services die. So I'm going to ask you this, JT. As we watch these streaming services die in a lot of ways, so RIP to HBO, because I don't think the HBO name is going to exist anymore. What are some of the IP that you think is going to leave in the next year? And it's not related to the next question that we have. I mean this in this context. So, for example, Batgirl was canceled. Game of Thrones is gonna still happen, but then we lost IP such as like Jupiter. I think it's like Jupiter Rising or something like that. That was the one that was on Netflix. Sandman, it might be gone. Witcher might be gone. So, what do you think is going to be an IP that's going to be gone in the next year due to the fact of like all these creatives being shut down because of like transitions between HBO Max and Netflix, Hulu, and so on and so forth?
So it's hard for me to say a lot of things because the studios shift around a lot. And you have stuff get canceled. King of the Hill got canceled a long time ago. So did Futurama. Hulu said they're gonna pick both of them up again. You know what I mean? So like even if something gets canceled, it's not necessarily the end. Now, since that's out of the way, what I would really like to see die is unfaithful adaptations. That's what I want to get rid of. If you're going to make an adaptation, a live adaptation, I want you to make it canon. Do your best to bring what we read to life, or what we saw in anime or in animation with real people. Do your best to make it as exciting as it was in its different mode. But so when you talk about The Witcher, like that was Henry Cavill apparently was a dick about the details because he was a big Witcher fan. And he'd all read the books and everything like that too. You know what I'm saying? So I think that having the main guy leave and trying to recast Geralt, you saw how they did this friggin' Witcher mug. This mug is like a 7. This new Witcher thing that they got on Netflix just came out. They got like a 7% on Rotten Tomatoes or something crazy like that. Like it's just abysmal.
Yeah.
And so if you're not gonna do a faithful adaptation, I need you to be like, Tim Burton's liberties of the IP that is Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. You know what I'm saying? So like I want a disclaimer to let you know, oh, this ain't the real one. This is somebody's reimagining of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would really make me complain less, because it's to me like it's like when you tell a Bible story and you cut out parts of the Bible story. I'm like, well, that's not the whole story, and all of these things are there for a reason. So I really, if you're gonna give me a summary or something, say, well, this is a summary, this is something different. So whatever gets canceled, I just hope that it's not original content that is faithful to the adaptations like The Witcher. But when The Witcher starts getting off roads, then I think it's time to shut that mug down. Hey, we had a good 2 seasons of it or whatever. Let's just cut our losses and take what we can get with them 2 seasons of The Witcher. Story got too confusing, too crazy. We couldn't mess with it no more. The end. That's what I like to see.
Fair enough. Now, Jamel, do you think that the future of the streaming services are going to allow newer IP to be developed
at a much smaller scale? Like it's funny how we smooth went from cable to the streaming wars back to cable, basically. Like just smooth, it happened very smooth. But I do think original stuff is gonna come out. I do think not necessarily repeats of stuff we've seen, but we're gonna get like adaptations. That stuff is still gonna happen. Like for all the fair points that JT made, we have gotten some adaptations that have deviated from the source material, and it's done wonders. For example, The Boys. That's one where I am 100% happy with how much they've deviated from the original source material. 100%. If you have read the original Boys comics, it's horrible. It's fucking terrible. But slowly but surely, original stuff is gonna come. It's just gonna be at a much smaller scale, and it's up to us, honestly, as the public.
When you say smaller scale in The Boys, I get bad visuals.
No. What I'm saying is that less, like, it's not gonna be a lot of original stuff that comes out. Just it's gonna trickle out just a tad.
Why
almost
is
kind of how it is now, because money. Like that, bottom line, money is why. It's easier to bet on something that you know is going to be a hit and get views and get streams and all of that than it is to take a risk on something original. And studios can be cowardly. And it's like, all right, instead of me trying this new thing, I'm gonna just go back to that old thing. Even when we talk about like superheroes getting adapted, why do you think there's been so many Spider-Mans? Why do you think Batman has gotten all these reboots? It's because they make money. And it's easier for Sony, for Marvel, for Warner, for DC, for them to do those projects instead of, all right, let's take a risk and let's do an Animal Man limited series. Like, let's take a risk and really dive into something like that. It's just a sad reality. Like, look, business is going to determine what comes out. And is it healthy for like artistic culture or creativity? I don't think so. Like, I honestly think the scale at which Disney in particular is, I don't think that's necessarily a good thing for breeding new artists and breeding new creatives. I don't think that's necessarily the best thing because of how much power that they have, but it's the world that we live in. Like, that's just, it sucks, but it's the world that we live in.
I mean, yeah, I guess my thing is that, like, you know, we've lost so much like IP, and you can still do DC superheroes, right? I just don't see the point in James Gunn making another Superman movie, which is the rumor. Is the very first movie is going to be a fucking Superman movie. Which, my God, man, come on, we don't need another fucking Superman movie. If you were gonna go with the Lobos movie and then just be like Jason Momoa, Lobos, let's fucking lead off the. Let's do that. You've already established this. Damn, JT got the face on. What's going on, JT?
Dog, I just found something that will save me a lot of effort.
Fair enough.
But the history, as far as DC is concerned and Warner Brothers, the DCEU is a mess. Like, say that it is a mess would be kind. It had to be started over from the beginning. Everything needed. It's this old saying where like a forest needs to be burned to the ground before it can grow better and stronger and new. They needed to burn everything to the ground. They needed to tear the house down all the way to the foundation, to the studs, and rebuild, because they basically built the house on quicksand. Anytime that it was it looked a little stable, it was an illusion. And I know I kind of feel what you may be thinking. It's like, okay, well, look what Marvel did in the building up of the MCU. They use lesser known characters. That's true. But had Marvel had access to the X-Men and Spider-Man from jump, those movies would have happened sooner. They built those Iron Man and Captain America and Thor. They got movies out of necessity, out of that's the only thing that they had. So,
but I think that
I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm not sure what the quality is going to be. I'm hoping that things are good. I'm hoping that good directors are put in charge of these projects. I just want good movies. That's my 2 cents on James Gunn and rebuilding DC.
Oh no, I don't mind him rebuilding it. This is, and I really want to articulate this.
And I'm gonna say that just real quick, like, and I know, and I think you put this in our chat. You know, why is he doing Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman? I just said it. It's that money. That's on that chest. It's worth money.
If you're gonna
that's
come
simple.
in, that's
worth money.
That's my point. Is the fact that if you're gonna come in and sit there and say that we're gonna change something new, and we're gonna do this whole different thing, then there's no reason why you should. Then there's no reason why to do a Founding Fathers Justice League movie. There's no reason.
Okay,
go ahead.
You gonna say start off with Lobo? Start a whole new DC universe off with Lobo, a character that comic fans and fans of like Superman animated series, we know Lobo. We know the main man, how good of a character he is.
The main man.
But you know who don't know that? Jane Q and her family out in Iowa. They don't really know that. Most casual people don't really know that. You kind of need to build up some successes then you can start introducing the weird shit. Like
Well,
the Guardians of the Galaxy weren't phase 1, they were phase 2.
I think that that the only problem with that logic is there is so much content to dip in. And the problem we get is there's so much Lobo content that what would they actually focus on? Would they focus on Lobo blowing up his home planet? You know what I'm saying? Nah, what we would get is we would get a movie of like 3, 4, 5 different Lobo episodes crashed together, and they would try to pick and choose bits of all of these little storylines, and we would get a half-baked film.
But you
That's what's
also
been
kind of
happening.
supported my fucking. Okay,
Yeah,
so here
I am.
I'm about to say, I'm about to say, fucking Jim Carrey, the day of redemption has a hit ahead of them. Like for real. Like there's so much fucking content. You can't say that Lobo was not on Sci-Fi. He was on the fucking like the Krypton TV show. He
How many
was on
people
Justice
watched it?
League, and it was a popular show before it actually got canceled. The second season was actually the hard fucking, not the second season, the first season was very tough, and then the second season, that's when people started really like watching, and there was a big fucking like actual pushback because of the fact that it got canceled. It shouldn't have got canceled when it was actually a popular show on Sci-Fi. The next thing that you got to think about is Justice League Unlimited, Superman. Lobos has been known for a fucking long time. Like Jamel, like he was there during the 90s. You see Lobos being there. So, but at the same token, going back into what you're saying, argument about like Guardians of the Galaxy, like Disney took a chance and made Guardians
after
of the
they
Galaxy
had success. They wouldn't have done Guardians of the Galaxy out the gate.
No real reference to Iron Man, all the rest of these characters, and you fell in love with that. We watched
MCU was
established.
The MCU itself was established. The brand was established by 2014. So they could do a weird ass movie that Guardians of the Galaxy. If it were
IP that's been like respected. So you mean to tell me that DC will not have the same success if DC said, "Hey, we're gonna come out with a show with Lobos"? Like,
well, you know what?
Black Adam is not known as much as everybody else.
Hold on. Let me say something.
We're gonna be able to see this in real life in 2023 because there's a Blue Beetle movie that's coming out in the summer. So we're gonna see if a lesser known IP from DC can generate buzz and hype. We're gonna see that in real life.
Go ahead, Jake.
And the Blue Beetle's a great example, because at the end of the day, what I want to tell these studio executives, it don't matter how small your IP is. If you make a good movie, we'll watch it.
I'm gonna hit you with an even better one. We've already fucking seen it. Miles Morales. Animated Miles Morales. We just fucking seen it. With Spider-Man, Miles Morales, it was not even showing the original Spider-Man during the fucking original trailers. You seen Miles Morales, it had fucking big kickback, and it got big fucking support. And then when they finally actually got
the best Spider-Man movie
considered, yes.
Even though every time Kingpin show up on screen, I hear, "You're such a fucking hoe. I love it." It's the best Spider-Man movie. Yeah. And so studio executives, I don't think that people understand. We'll watch a movie about black people. We'll watch a movie about minorities. We'll watch a movie about foreigners. We don't care as long as the movie's good. Stop giving us crap. I'm done spending money on crappy films, y'all. I ain't doing it no more. So happy I don't have kids right now. Because
and you mean to tell me that you would not go see a fucking Jason Momoa movie?
I don't go watch movies just because anybody's in it. I don't care that much.
That's
unless it's Michael Caine or Denzel, but I'm not gonna go watch any movie just because Jason Momoa is in it. I don't care about him that much, dog. I'll go watch him in C or whatever on Apple. You know what I'm saying? Like,
or CW Seed. We gonna watch him on CW fucking Seed.
No, the show is called C, and Jason Momoa is a blind dude.
You talk about that. But I thought that you were talking about CW Seed. I want to say, oh my god, the free app, the Tubi of cable television. But like, just because of the fact that like there's just like one of you, there's probably 10 other people who's like, oh, Jason Momoa, this is a fucking movie. You know, think about like
that's my wife. She'd be like, oh, I like this actor. And I'm like, is the movie good? Look, 56% that Netflix says the recommendation is. Nah, don't turn that on.
Yeah.
I have my algorithm for 10 years that knows me better than that.
I think the best like joke was when Jordan Peele made in Keegan Peele, when he said that like girlfriends were like actually tricking their boyfriends to go see the movie Les Mis. And it was like, oh yeah, your boy Wolverine is in this movie. No, you're not. He in this movie. And then go see the fucking movie. Oh yeah, that's your boy right there. Fing Fing, that's him right there with the that's Wolverine right over there. You know what I mean? And that's Catwoman too. You know what I mean? Like people will go see the movie because of that. That's why you have movies like Black Adam that like got created because of the fact that it was attached to Dwayne Johnson. Why was it a 10-year journey, 15-year journey almost for this movie to be made? So people will go see fucking movies just for the fuck of it. And it's a thing. We went to go see Jared Leto do Morbius, which is a lesser IP. And
we didn't see that.
No, we didn't.
I saw it.
I seen it. I seen it on Netflix. I watched it on Netflix.
Not that many saw it. Not that many folks saw it.
Why, Jamel?
Twice. It made history. It flopped twice. It came out in the theaters twice and flopped both times.
That's because they listened to the internet. You fools.
Yes.
That's why you shouldn't listen to the internet. So history. Go ahead and give your final thoughts before we move on to the next to our second half of the show.
First thing I'm gonna say is RIP to the homie Reverend Salty, man. I definitely miss my fucking friend. I think I've said it to a lot of people. I miss my fucking friend. And I will continue to do and implement our Salty editions because of that, because of how good of a friend he was. Also on top of that, this year we lost a lot of fucking people. And one of the best versions of IP that kind of supports my argument that unnecessary losing of IP is the movie Black Panther came out in November, and it was still fucking popular. It still popped a little bit, not for necessarily all the way completely for Black people supporting it, but also now Latinx people are supporting it. Black Panther was not fucking known, and so for these studios now to come out with these this idea that we're gonna just get rid of properties, we're gonna get rid of these particular aspects of it. It feels diluted in this idea, and I get where money definitely makes the most sense, but it still doesn't stop the fact that it's diluted. I like the idea of turning on my fucking Netflix and knowing that there's a thing called The Kingdom, and it's about basically the zombie apocalypse in 18th century, like Japan, you know, and finding and enjoying that. Train to Busan, getting hashtag alive, and those are just Asian fucking flicks. That's not counting The Boys. Like, you think that The Boys would have fucking came out in the early 90s? No, those things would have never came
exist.
Out. But you're saying though, like the content itself, would it have come out in the 90s, and would it have been successful in the 90s? And no, the answer is absolutely by far no. We were Clarissa Explains It All. We were Clueless. We were a lot of other things. John Tucker Must Die and all the rest of that type of stuff. We were not having a lot of creative content unless it followed the specific fucking formula of having a blonde hair, blue-eyed person basically leading it. If you had a Black person, that person was a thug. That person was not a fucking king. That person was not a protagonist that can actually change the dynamic of the fabric of a actual universe itself. You didn't have a person who was a woman lead who didn't talk to another fucking woman without mentioning another male's name and the importance of it. That's why that's why we love the first Wonder Woman, but we hate Wonder Woman 1984, because Wonder Woman never seen a fucking man in her life. But then all of a sudden now we watch 1984, she can't get over the idea of another fucking dude. But then also on top of that, we have more IP that actually be able to actually be political statements as well, and freely be political statements. So with that, man, it feels diluted in this idea. I just hope that we grow and have some type of dynamic where we still allow the creativity and have trial and error and fucking content creation. With that, man,
Let's
I
move into
want,
the back half of
yeah,
the
let's do
show
that. Yeah, let's do that.
because
we've been going for an hour and a half. Let's stop calling it a half.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think we did a good wrap up.
No, here's the thing. It was supposed to be, we probably should have timed this and just did literally 20 minutes. That would have been an hour. But
we should have did a long I say what I said.
Well, when it comes to I say what I said, I believe we were supposed to get 3 things that came out in 2022 we were excited about.
This one was now the second. What we were going to talk about in the second hour was each of us was going to bring up 3 things that came out this year that we enjoyed, whether it's a movie, TV show, album, video game, whatever. 2 that we were not as satisfied with, disappointed is the word. And then 1 big project for 2023 that we were going to look forward to. So,
bro, we did good.
JT,
let's move on.
Let's kick off with you. What are some projects this year that came out that you were really satisfied with? 3 of them that you really
absolute number 1 project that came out this year was Peacemaker. The single best thing to come out of the DC universe, period, since Nolan.
Damn.
Peacemaker, starring John Cena, is one of the funniest shows. It's a delightful comedy of errors with a lot of heart. And you know, when he said in the Suicide Squad, I want peace. I don't care how many men, women, and children I have to kill to get it. I knew that Peacemaker was something special. And I'm so happy he got his own spinoff show because it was completely satisfying. A great time. You got to go tune into that on HBO Max, y'all.
Fair.
HisStory, what's your first project? Oh, go right ahead. You know,
I was just going to get that out the way, Doug.
Oh, yeah, go right ahead.
Was the epic video game that is Elden Ring. I tell you what, I have not had that much fun in the open world since Breath of the Wild, and I have not had that much fun in the M-rated open world since Skyrim. So high praise to the Dark Souls gets open with it. And it's a lot of fun. There's some new DLC that's going on. I'm trying to get some of the What's Up with Us guys to get in there and let's hit this Coliseum right quick. Of course, nobody got Coliseum builds, so you know we'll have to deal with that later. Last thing is I had to give a special shout out to Kendrick Lamar and Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, because you know, Kendrick is always doing something new with his albums. He is a great experimentalist rapper, and he's out there, y'all. He's on the fringe, but I think that this is Kendrick's most whole body of art. You know, when you make an album, it's because you got something to say. And so he had like 14 tracks of some stuff to say, y'all. And he said the dang thing. So real big shout out to Kendrick for coming back with that heat. We needed it. And a lot of good tracks in there, definitely worth the listen. And if you already listened to it, it's worth the playthrough again. Those are my top 3.
HisStory.
Go ahead.
And let's try not to go over the same territory for each other. Let's try and come up with some different things. So HisStory, go ahead with your 3 projects that you enjoyed.
I was about to say, man, he took my song, man, because that was my album. That has been some of the best IP fucking for music this year, man, hands down. I just can't remember anybody else being really good this year. You know, but if you want me to throw back a little bit, man, I'm gonna have to say that like we really as a culture need to start accepting Burna Boy being one of the best fucking like music fucking people out there right now too. Burna Boy is so fucking dope, dog. So check out fucking Burna Boy if you get it. He
What's
just
that
did
song he does with?
he did some fucking good music, man. He did Yay. He did what's your location? He did so many good fucking songs, right? And so Burna Boy has been so amazing this year. And then also on top of that, like creatively, fucking check out Burna Boy. BurnaBoy. Burna Boy. Check out Burna Boy if you ever get a fucking chance. But to comment on Kendrick Lamar's album, I love the fucking statement when he told his his cousin asked a question. He said that like, no, Kendrick asked him, when can I say faggot? And the cousin said that like, when you can let me say nigga. And that basically shut down the whole conversation. And so I love that shit, man. I love the fight. Obviously the common ones is that, oh, actually, if you want an album,
It
what's
doesn't
that?
have to be an album. It can be music, video game, TV, movies,
That would be
anything, any project that came out in 2022.
okay. Black Panther 2, hands down, has been a thing that I've is not because of the fact that it's perfect, it's because of the fact that it for what it means to the culture. We got to say goodbye to Chadwick Boseman, but then we got to also welcome in Namor. We lost an interesting person to gain another interesting person, which is so fucking interesting. It's a no pun intended. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find a different word for it. It's a very is beautiful to lose one to gain one, and interesting person. And then you have a movie where you have other people who are interesting and who are important to the concept. Unfortunately, Riri Ironheart falls short in this movie, but I love Black Panther 2 for what it did for the culture. And then also for them to come up with the idea simply that, like, okay, cool, we're gonna still give you a T'Challa, but it's gonna be in the aspect of having this child. Everybody else was saying hashtag recast T'Challa, all this other stuff. But we got a new T'Challa, and that is in baby T'Challa form. So
they gave us exactly what we asked for, y'all.
They technically did, man. And you know what? I'm gonna say
biggest cop out, but they gave us what we wanted.
They did. They did. It's the genie in the lamp aspect of it, right? It's the wishmaster aspect. Be careful on how you ask for that fucking thing. You say that we want to recast T'Challa. Okay, we gave you T'Challa, and so for them to give us baby T'Challa, I just think that it's a crazy way of actually fucking doing it, man. And kudos to Ryan Coogler and the rest of the people who had their hand into this script, because I don't know how I would have enjoyed Black Panther 2, the script that they was talking about, which is T'Challa is mourning the idea of losing his kingdom and then being gone for 5 years and losing time with his son. I just don't know how you could have did that movie and then also introduced Namor.
Any dude would have been like, dog, wait, you mean I missed the diaper stage? All right, well, this can't be all bad.
Yeah, well, like, and then it makes sense why he told Okoye. I get where it could have been beneficial to keep him in there, but it makes sense why Okoye was gone. Not Okoye, Nakia was gone for so long. So it puts some perspective to a lot of that stuff. And
what's number 3?
Man, fuck that, man. I'm gonna beat out fucking drum, man. Historical Voices came out this fucking year, man. Fuck that.
Let's go.
Historical Voices from the East Side came out with Africans. We came out with Black Air Force Sensitive. We had the Salty
WPE.
Edition. Bro, yeah, exactly, man. We came out with some hard shit this year, man. We tripped and stumbled throughout the whole time, bro. And Historical Voices, the project itself has been amazing. So fuck that. My highlight is the fact that we came out with this beautiful audio acoustical experiment that we have here today, man. So that's my third thing, man. Go ahead, Jamel.
All right. So for me, I'm not going to steal Peacemaker because I agree. I really enjoyed that show. I'm going with a different TV show that came out on Hulu streaming. It is The Bear. It's based on, or it's set in Chicago at a sandwich shop. It stars Jeremy Allen White. You might know him as, I think it's Mouther or something from Shameless.
Lip.
And it's Lip.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Very good show. Very good show. Shameless and The Bear is a great show. Like it is like it's stressful in a way. It's like it builds up some anxiety in a way. And I think it's just a fabulous, it's a really good project. And I think if you haven't seen it, check it out. Like you'll laugh, you'll get some emotionality out of it. It's a really good project. That's number one. 2 is Everything Everywhere All at Once. It is one of the trippiest. It's one of the trippiest movie experiences that I've had in a long time. And
so good.
I put out a TikTok with just movies that I really enjoyed this year. And we've gotten so much multiverse stuff from Marvel. We've got a little bit from DC. And this movie it kills both of them with the way that they approach the multiverse and the heart is there. And I think that's been not completely there for the stuff that we've seen with Marvel. It was there a little bit with Spider-Man No Way Home and a smidge with Doctor Strange too, but that movie, and shout out to Michelle Yao, I'm probably butchering her name. She's been doing the acting thing for a long time. She still can do the fighting scenes. I believe she was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She can still get down with the fight. She can still get down. She also looks really good for her age. Like just not even one of them for her age thing. She just looks good. So shout out to her. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Finally, the third movie. It is probably behind Everything Everywhere All at Once, the favorite movie theater experience that I've had this year. And it was Top Gun Maverick. It is without a doubt. Wait, hold up. Before I go into Top Gun, where did you think I was going?
Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, okay. You talked highly about it, bro. So yeah.
I did. Yeah.
No way you weren't.
I really enjoyed it. I think I'm not somebody who's a fan of Tom Cruise. I don't really like how you get down with the whole Scientology thing. There's some sketchy stuff in his past, and makes me a little uncomfortable. I ain't on his dick about Mission Impossible. Like honestly, there's three Tom Cruise movies that I really mess with. It's Collateral, the one he had with Jamie Foxx. It is Tropic Thunder, and it's now this. Like, honestly, I saw the first Top Gun. It was just, it was okay. But this one made me care about the characters way more than I thought I would. Like I got a little emotional in ways that I didn't think I would either. And so I really appreciate the movie. I think the fight scenes, the action, it worked out really well. And again, it surprised the hell out of me. Like it's one of those movies where it's like, all right, I'm gonna see it. And then I see it in the theater and it's just one of those where I'm like, damn, kind of wish I saw this in like IMAX and 3D just to get the full effect, because it was one of those experiences. So I really did enjoy it. But now, and shout out to the Wednesday series on Netflix. That's a good one that I've heard a lot about, as well as House of the Dragon. That's another one. I saw Unbearable Weight of Incredible Talent with Nick Cage. It was okay. It was a decent ride. But
I have to disagree with the House of Dragon.
Oh, no, I'm not saying House of Dragon was decent or anything. I got nothing for any of the Game of Thrones stuff. However you feel about it, that's how you feel.
So JT once chastised me a little bit on my bro. What are you doing, JT?
My kitty was leaning on my hand. I didn't want to move it because she looks so cute.
I got you. So JT once, I'm gonna say chastised me because he did try to spank my ass a little bit when it came to me saying that I like the final season of Game of Thrones because of the fact of what the future may hold.
You monster.
Yeah, he didn't like the fact of like what the idea of letting something pass because of what I think may happen. And so like House of Dragon for the content. I don't like the House of Dragon for how much fucking incest and how much like fucking of kids is happening in that show. I don't like that. So it was it was a hard fucking watch for me. So there was a point in time I was like, they introduced the king and they was like, oh yeah, take basically your niece. And she's only 12 and the mom had to tell her, well, you don't have to do nothing until you're 14. Like, are we really going to write this? We're in a fantasy world. I get that you're trying to say that happened during that time, but we're in a fantasy world. I'm pretty sure that they didn't have flying dragons during this time. So realistically, I just didn't like.
I regret mentioning House of Dragon.
Huh?
I said I regret mentioning it.
Well,
I was just reading the comment.
Candy.
I was reading the comment. I don't even think they said House of Dragon. They said Rings of Power. Oh yeah, they did say House. Okay, so it's your fault. It's your fault, Ken.
Yeah.
So now.
Yeah, so I would say that they mentioned the incest way before that, bro. It was like episode like 2-ish, 1. And then you had the fucking niece fucking her uncle. It was a whole goddamn thing, bro.
Well, speaking of disappointments,
she literally married a cousin.
Now's the time to go over a couple of projects that we were less than satisfied, that we were disappointed with. So
I was ahead of time.
You got ahead. So House of Dragon is one of yours. So you just got to give us one or two more. JT, what are a couple of projects that came out this year that you were less than happy with, less than satisfied with?
Phase 4.
Oh my god.
Hold on, I'm not done. I also wrote down award shows.
Bro, you sure it wasn't a hit?
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I'll be honest, Candy. I thought that Lord of the Rings was a little weak. I really got bored between the third and second to last episodes.
Yeah.
And the final one was like, ooh, big twists. And like the entire time I'm watching with my wife, I'm like, oh yeah, so not Gandalf. From episode 1, bro. From episode 1. I was sitting my wife with that the whole time. And so, like, for them to string us along so stupidly is honestly kind of dumb. Like, I think they really should have just told the one story, tell the other story. But they wrap up all this ish and, like, who is actually who? Well, if you told the fucking story, we'd know, wouldn't you? Right. You see what I'm saying? Candy? You're exactly right. Candy said, it's all good. I'm all about Lord of the Rings. Wish they had the source material for real. Come on now, like that is just yes. The source material matters.
Don't worry about that part. Yeah, I agree with that, man. I definitely agree with that. Go ahead, Jamel.
So HisStory. So JT, any more projects that didn't satisfy you this year besides the entirety of Phase 4, and then of course award shows in general?
I mean, you know what didn't satisfy me was midterms. Honestly, I really hoped that everybody would be as passionate about them as we are, which is middling, but enough to go out and vote. You know what I mean? And so I just want to get like set a fire up on the people. You know, if you vote for people, you could have got more money during the pandemic just to stay home. If you vote for different people, just stop voting in these same old guys, y'all. So anyway, I was disappointed in that, you know, but overall, I think America's doing better. So, you know, it's okay. It's okay.
All right,
Go with those
history.
three.
History. What pieces of media disappointed you the most? Let's stick to about one. You've
Media.
already gotten your House of Dragon stuff going on, so you can drop one or two more.
You know, even though I advocated for the fact of like DC still coming out with the projects, I'm gonna say Black Adam disappointed me. Black Adam disappointed me. It's a really it's a really good movie. It made me forget that I was sitting there for about 2 hours because it was filled with action. But the lack of inventiveness that it could have been. They were so busy trying to follow the stereotypical formula of like, we got to still have the comic relief, which obviously that was Atom Smasher in this one. The relationship between Atom Smasher and Hawkman, you know, the whole, we're going to talk about this later, like thing that happened. Atom Smasher was completely useless throughout the whole fucking match.
What did he even do, bro?
He did nothing. He held him down. He held him down for like 1 minute and then let go of it. Like it was fucking terrible. So for a movie to be written
Amateurs.
for 10 to 15 years, right? For this movie to be a thing, an idea, some type of like constructive entity, you should have brought it. You should have brought it so much harder. I would still say the movie is maybe a 7 or 8 out of 10. It falls among the low edgers aspect of it. Late stages of like slumper. But that should have been a movie that should have went hard in the paint. And because of the fact that it's Dwayne Johnson. I will also say that like, because of the fact that we had Black Panther 2, Black Panther 2 makes me disappointed in a lot of other IP. And this is a shameless plug. If you listen to our podcast about the plot holes with the Eldritch Manor Discord group, we talked about Jason Momoa should have been the son of Maui or some type of like Hawaiian or Samoan god. He should have been that. If we're going to go with this like Samoan guy, you should have doubled down on it instead of him being a part of a I guess you would say Atlantean group that is all these white blue-eyed people or white-eyed people. You know, his dad was this New Zealand guy, but that's about it. He should have been the son of Maui. It should have been the opposite way around, and should have doubled down.
My friend, Aquaman came out in 28. You see, this is the thing. You will go off topic. You will go. We say we going to Chicago. You will make a left and be like, nah, let's go to. You will make a left and be like, nah, we're gonna go to New York. Stay on target.
You asked me what I was disappointed in. You asked me what I was disappointed in.
Came out
and you brought up a movie from 4 years ago.
Well, no. This is.
I love you, man.
No.
I love you.
Listen to what I'm saying. So
wow.
What I'm saying is,
that was aggressive.
Yeah, dog. You told me I'm going off topic. I'm going left field. You need to go for the ride. T.I. said it best when it comes to Michael Pena's character. You got to take the fucking ride in the journey before you actually get to the actual perspective. So what I'm saying is that DC has failed this year to make projects. So when I look at projects, again, 10 to 15 years, we got fucking Black Adam. I think we should have doubled down with a project that actually supported the culture. We have Black Panther, which we had Namor. We had like all these other projects that should have just been better. You had Justice League. You had all these other things. There should have been that representation. That's my long and exhaustive reason of saying it. I know that I didn't get to it as quickly as you probably wanted.
You didn't get to it at all. You
didn't let me finish.
You went to a movie that came out 4 years ago. That DC is dead. We got to stop talking. It's dead. is dead like fried chicken.
No, that nigga, no, nigga. 2023, we still got all that DC shit coming out, bro. We still got Blue Beetle.
We don't.
We got a bunch of shit still coming. We got Shazam still coming out. That shit is happening. So with that, I'm disappointed.
Okay.
I'm because of Black Panther 2. Not only was a love relationship, it also makes me hate a lot of fucking IP that happened. That happened not only this year, but even previous years before. So
that
yeah,
makes okay.
Man,
Go right ahead.
You could. All right. So think about
Look,
it. Like
I ain't gonna be too many more niggas.
I'm just. All right. I ain't gonna let you be no more niggas. I apologize. I'll course correct myself on this one. Only if you allow me to make my points when I stand. I'm just saying. This is.
I will allow that
all the time on the historical voices for the.
I will allow that. I'm just saying. Start using Siri or your GPS and stay on target for the destination.
I think I was on target. I
went
just
somewhere else.
Patient. I think that
anyway.
I think I didn't give you instant gratification. That's what I think. But
JT, anyway,
go ahead.
Projects that I've been. Yeah, I got to give my disappointments out.
Yeah, dog.
Go right ahead, JT.
I said, God, dog. It was just an exclamation of how he tried to override you. You ain't even said shit yet. Come on, Jamel. Hey, Jamel, what were 3 projects in the media from this year, 2022, that you really liked?
Oof.
You said
that was disappointment off the gate.
Yeah, it was a disappointment. Yeah.
I'm a piggyback off of your phase 4-ness, specifically Thor: Love and Thunder. I really liked Thor Ragnarok. I enjoyed it. I thought the comedy worked in that movie. But then Thor and Love and Thunder came out, and I was annoyed. I was annoyed by Thor, how much of a regressive bitch he was, being so angry that his hammer was in love with his ex. And that was weird. I didn't really like how they tried to shoehorn in Korg and Valkyrie being gay, but not actually having them be characters. It was just like, hey, here's some window dressing. Here, like, they're gay. We ain't gonna discuss it. We ain't gonna go into detail about it. We ain't gonna actually meet these people who they're in relationships with and explore that. Nah, we ain't got time for that.
You ain't like the lack of this representation?
Representation is like, we can't just be saying, hey, let's get representation. Have good representation. That's
the lack of representation.
I'm never satisfied with just being represented. I want good representation. And finally, those fucking goats. I hate those screaming goats. Those are terrible. That screaming goat joke was funny in like 2012 when somebody remixed it with Taylor Swift. It is 2022. That is a decade that's passed. That joke is old as hell. That joke is old like Joe Biden is old. That joke is old like Donald Trump is old. That joke is old like Bernie Sanders is old. That joke is old as shit, and we can't keep. Nah,
you don't like how they brought an old joke into 2022? You don't like that? You don't like how that's associated? Okay, so you
did not care.
Started to get to my points. Okay, go ahead.
It was terrible.
Take that.
Next thing that I was disappointed with. You know what? The biggest thing that I'm disappointed with, because really I've done a good job this year of navigating things that I didn't really want to watch or consume. It's Pokemon Scarlet. I was looking forward to this game. The 9th generation of Pokemon, I was looking forward to it. But playing it, and it is just supremely disappointing. Like, this is a problem that's been building up with Nintendo and Game Freak for decade, for like a good solid decade, with them rushing productions, with them having subpar graphics, and it taken away from the fun of the adventure. I like the game itself, but it's too broken for me to be satisfied. There's too many areas where they did short serve the fans, and it's one of those times where it's like, I may be close to getting off this train and not doing no more Pokemon. It disappointed me. After I finished the main game, I haven't picked it up since. It's been that type of disappointment, and I've been a fan of Pokemon for most of my life, and it's just that project, it pissed me off with how horrifying the graphics were, and with how bad Game Freak is with actually like polishing and making sure it's good. For me, my favorite game, Pokemon game, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and it's like a sad game, Pokemon Stadium, playing those mini games. Those have been my favorites. But yeah, Pokemon, that's the overarching most disappointing thing that I've had that's happened to me in 2022. Before we conclude and before we give our highlights of our experience on historical voices for the year, JT, is there anything on the horizon in 2023 that you're actually looking forward to consuming? Whether, again, movie, TV show, whatever. What's on the horizon?
Very, very, very excited about the new Miles Morales movie coming out, y'all. I mean, obviously, we're doing Spider-Man again, and it's. I think it's gonna be even better now. We get across the Spider-Verse, and it's gonna be. It's gonna be.
I love how Miguel, aka Spider-Man 2099, is just on Miles's ass in every trailer. Miles did something fucked up, and it's gonna be fun to watch. HisStory, what about you? What's something in 2023 that you're most looking forward to?
Historical voices from the East Side.
Besides us.
Bro, you can't tell me what I gotta be excited about. Damn, nigga. Wait, earlier you said that we can't piggyback off each other, and then you piggyback off of JT's phase 4.
Let's imply this. Let's imply we're all excited to do more historical voices in 2023. That's a given. That should go without being said.
You done shut down my
We can shamelessly plug later.
It's not shameless.
We're gonna do that in a minute.
I'm not ashamed of us.
HisStory, go ahead and lay on us a project that you're looking forward to in the new year.
Can I piggyback off of people? I just need to know the rules.
Sure. This one you can.
I'm excited about Blue Beetle. I'm excited about Miles Morales. I'm excited to talk about some more fucking superhero shit, bro. Even though like this drug can have some bad side effects, for some reason I keep fucking taking that shit. So more superhero shit. That's the most exciting things that I could possibly put out there. I'm excited about these new IP drugs. Stop making me disappointed in the shit that's happened previously. I think that's the point I was trying to make earlier. Miles, if we're gonna do fucking Blue Beetle, let Blue Beetle just be fucking going ham and be as Latinx as possible. Don't just let him happen to be a Latinx superhero. Miles Morales, Miguel O'Hara, I want him to disown the idea of fucking like Spider-Man being there. Let's hold on to the core values of what a lot of these characters are. And it's awkward that Miguel is about to whoop Miles Morales' ass inside of this game, this universe, but I can't wait to get some more of this drug of like these superhero films. So those are my biggest ones.
All right. Well,
and also historical voices from the East Side season 2.
I'm in the same boat as y'all. Looking forward to the new Spider-Verse movie. Looking forward, interesting to see what happens with Blue Beetle. I'm gonna go off the beaten path with two things that I'm excited about, and they're coming out relatively soon. Next Friday, January the 6th, there is this horror movie by the name of Megan that's coming out. It looks like it can either be really fun and scary or terrible, and nowhere in between. I am so looking forward to it. Go ahead and look up the trailers online. It is wildly stupid. It has just fun, dumb movie potential. The second comes out in February. Cocaine Bear. That should excite everyone. That should excite you. Cocaine Bear. I'm not gonna tell you about what the movie is. I ain't gonna distract. I don't want y'all to look at Cocaine Bear. That should be enough to sell you. Cocaine Bear. So yeah, it comes out towards the end of February. So those are the two that I'm looking forward to the most for the year. Finally, history. This is something that you rightly said that we should do. What's been your favorite moment from the Historical Voices from the East Side podcast throughout the year?
I will say, here's my biggest one is that fact. I know that we do our little banters back and forth, like I mean earlier, and everything like that. I do think that like these moments definitely make it kind of worth it and make some of this shit fun. Does it feel uncomfortable to me sometimes? Yes, it does. Does it feel like it's perfect? No. But I do appreciate little moments like that. I do have I wrote this list down more than I focused on this part more than I focused on a lot of other shit because we switched over to another distributor with Anchor. I got to listen to a lot of the podcasts all over again. So I have 5, and I've already stated 2 of them. JT's Emperor Palpatine sounding not like Palpatine, but Uncle Ruckus from fucking the Boondocks. I thought that shit was hilarious. And I even responded with such, and then also did stink meat on that. I thought that shit was hilarious. Jamel's hatred for Thor, Love and Thunder, and Morbius was a thing. But then also on top of that, how I had such a bad disdain for the movie known as, or the series, I should say, as The Long Halloween. So with that, I would say those moments have been super fun and super exciting for me. And even though it feels like I enjoy y'all. I enjoy y'all. I didn't realize how much I'm going to be very like as transparent as possible. And I've been transparent even with JT. Is the fact of like I had a hard time with some of the conversations we had, but at the same token, like I didn't realize how many times when I was re-listening to them, like I could fucking laugh at some of the shit. And so I enjoy y'all, and I think that like y'all are some good dudes to do this fucking show with. So I appreciate this the nature of the show. So even though I was calling Jamel a bunch of niggas, I've been kind of trying to work on my niggerdom lately.
Don't say it in front of the white people.
Don't say it in front of the white people. Or at least that what happened. I'm about to say the what happened, JT.
Say it in front of the white people.
Yeah.
Don't worry, he ain't here right now.
Or some
he asleep, ready to wake up in the morning and do his job.
Yeah, or some other people that we all know about that's associated with some other people. You're scared of white people. So I enjoy that, man, and it's exciting, man. I know that it seems like I'm being very nitpicky sometimes. I'm like clips and shit like that, but I just believe in our product, man. I believe in our fucking like shit, and I just think that like I've been excited about like little shit like that where I get to laugh at fucking like small shit like that, like African. I didn't fucking know about no African shit, man, and that just works. That shit was hilarious.
Yes, it is.
Go ahead, JT. Your turn, man. I'm sorry.
Yes, it is. I mean, as much as I did like watching history freak out about the longest Halloween because I ain't never seen a grown man PMS before, my single favorite moment of the show is hands down the epic rant that Jamel did on Morbius. We have mentioned Morbius several times. It is a phenomenally shitty film, but this man over here, he did the best review, no holds barred. And I actually got to take that week off. So I actually got to sit and watch Jamel just straight go on a rampage about this film. And it was like the best 2 minutes and 40 seconds or 5 minutes or whatever the frick I think we've had in the whole show.
Well, thank you. I'm actually not gonna pick the Morbius moment as my favorite. I'm gonna pick something different. It's the amount of laughter that we got about Fox Soul. Like I think we just.
What do
I
you think their
it,
theme song sounds like? Fox.
like it just.
Let your soul glow. Oh, that's a dope soundbite. Where'd you get that from?
Fox Soul. Like I don't. We just like I don't even know what the topic. It was. I think it was something about Nick Cannon having another kid. And I think history brought up, Vivica A. Fox said this on her show on Fox Soul, and that got me going. Like, Fox Soul.
Oh my god.
It was, oh my god. That might be like I don't think I've laughed as hard doing the show as I did with just Fox Soul.
We derailed the show for like 40 minutes just to crack on that.
Poor Vivica Fox.
The whole show is tainted after you brought that ish up. We were like, hold on, wait, what?
You said that. The topic didn't even matter. It was Fox.
You might like,
and we kept bringing it back up. It was.
Might as well call it Masses BET. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Gentrified BET Plus.
Yes.
I wonder what kind of programming they have on there these days. I can't do it. I'm not even gonna check.
I don't want to Google it.
I agree.
These have been some fun times. So history.
Yes.
I officially, for the last time in 2022, turn the hosting over to you to take us home.
Man, with that, check out the Historical Voices season 2, starting next week. When we come back on January the 5th, actually. So make sure you check that out. Sinbad month. You agree? Sinbad month.
Heck yeah.
Sinbad month.
Yeah.
Let's start off with house guests.
Well, let's start off with a poll. See what our viewers want.
All right, we could do a fucking poll as well, man.
Make sure it's something that we can all watch on these streaming services.
Yes, definitely. With that, man, I'm gonna actually cut it short, man. With that, JT, Jamel, we're gonna do small voice of reason. What's a voice of reason for next year? Let's start off with Jamel. I'm gonna go next, and then JT finish it off. So Jamel.
It's the lesson that we should all learn. Don't trust Whitey. Also, don't watch Fox Soul.
Damn, that's so fucked up. All right. So I've been promoting. Fuck, that's so bad. I've been promoting the shit out of like our podcast because of the fact that I believe I still celebrate quarantine. So one of the things is collective economics, community economics. So that's been my thing. So support your favorite Black podcast. So big shout outs to this. So with that, I want us to practice Ujama and celebrating that and light your candle today. Make sure that you take care of your community and keep practicing those core values as we move forward. So with that, man, last but not least, JT.
The first thing the voice is going to tell you is to set small goals and celebrate achieving them. If you set out to do what you have intended to do, you have been successful. If you set out to do what you have intended to do and absolutely nothing that you didn't intend to do, you have been incredibly successful. So set small goals for yourself and celebrate them every day. You can reward yourself with a shot, an extra shot of coffee. You know what I'm saying? With a piece of junk food, without taking junk food. You know what I'm saying? We're going to the gym. We're going for a walk. But find ways to set small little goals for yourself every day. Celebrate them, and then reward yourself for that with something else that you also need or want. And you will watch this cycle of guilt for getting what you want and wanting what you need disappear.
Awesome, man. Happy New Year's, everybody. Usually we just drop it after this, but Happy New Year's, everybody. Happy New Year's.
Good night, everybody. Happy 2023.
See y'all for season 2. Peace.
Peace.